Hey everybody, this is Mr. Ruger giving you another snippet into the mathematics that we're doing. Now this was by request by Cameron, my second block class. She wanted some stuff put on Edmodo for today's lesson. So during my lunch break, I figured we'd bang this out real fast. So this guy, it's solving an equation. First thing that I notice is this is a negative power. Because it's a negative power, that means that this is actually going to be 1 over x to the 3 halves power equals 1 over 729. Okay? Once we get here, really the only thing that we're considering, or we need to look at, are these two right here. The fraction part doesn't really affect me. So what we're essentially talking about is x to the 3 halves equals 729. How does that happen? Two ways. I'll split this into two things here. Two ways. The first way is this is the square root of x to the third equals 729. The square root of square root of x to the third equals 729. Now the way that we can do this real quick is I bust out my calculator. This one's low batteries. Imagine that. Is I can say 729 and I can square it. And that gives me x to the third equals a ridiculously big number. But once we get here, we then can go math, what is that, 4 cube root of second answer, and it gives me an answer of 81. So x equals 81. The second way we can do this is we can say x to the 3 halves, and I can raise it to the 2/3 power. I can raise it to its reciprocal power. So I can do 729 to the, use my parentheses here, 2 divided by 3, close it, and still get, as you see, x equals 81. So there's how I would answer those two questions, or that question two different ways. Next one. First thing I need to do is get rid of that 6. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So I have negative 5,100 negative 5,126, and I'm adding 6 to both sides. So we have negative 5,200 or 120 equals negative 5 times 3x plus 22 to some crazy power. Okay? Next thing I need to do is to divide both sides by negative 5. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5.
Hiya, Stevens. Please come to the front office.
Yep, we're in school,
Hiya, Stevens.
and they're
Please
going
come
to
the
interrupt
front
class with these PA announcements. Actually, it's not so bad during lunch. Negative divided by negative is a power. We end up with 1,024 is equal to 3x plus 22 to the 5/3 power. Once again, when I get here, I can raise everything to the 3/5 to the 3/5. It's a kind of funny thing. Yes, it is fifth, F-I-F-T-H, fifth. Please make sure you're doing that. And then I'm going to take second answer, and I'm going to raise that to the 3/5 power, and that's going to give me 64 is equal to 3x plus 22. Subtract 22 from both sides. Subtract 22 from both sides. We end up with 3x is equal to 42. Divide both sides by 3, and x is equal to 14. Okay? And that's how I would do that problem. Once again, we can go back in and we can check to make sure that the answer is or is not extraneous. So I can say in my calculator, if you guys can see the calculator screen, let me check to make sure. Oh yes, oh yes. So I can go like this. I can say negative 6 minus 5 times the quantity of 3 times 14, close it, plus 22 to the, open parentheses, 5/3 equals. And do I get negative 5,126? I do, which means this guy is a solution. Bam. Okay? And when you guys look at the second portion, we will talk about these two problems.